Okay guys, today I'm going to be running you through one of our clients' awesome progress. Lina has absolutely smashed it over the last 12 weeks. She's gone from 125.5 to 113.2 kilos. That is 12.3 kilos lost. I'm going to run you through today where she started and how she's got to where she is now. So Lina was debating surgery when she came to us. She had been stuck for a while with her weight loss. She felt like she tried everything and nothing was working for her. But now, as I said, she's lost just over 12 kilos in the last 12 weeks since she's come back from her holiday to China. She's really doing well, in some great momentum. And this is just a screenshot of her on our app. And this is where it all started, getting started on the app, in the coaching. And this is where it all began. Her starting point, she had a history of yo-yoing up and down with her body weight constantly and also comfort eating. So a big part of her journey is coming down to habits and rewiring as well. So we're going to be talking through that today. She used to go from challenge to challenge, and this is what was causing that yo-yoing. She was always just hoping the next one was going to stick, like most people do that do these challenges, and they're just super restrictive, and then they end up just sort of living their life. This is what Lina exactly said to me on her first call with me, and she basically was saying that she would go really restrictive, and then afterwards she would try so hard to keep up with that, but then she would end up living her life, eating out or eating food she actually wanted to eat, and that's when things would go downhill. So she, in this case, was debating doing surgery because she thought that was the only way out. But deep down, she knew that the real reason wasn't her body. Sorry, the real issue wasn't her body. It was her habits, her mindset, like these real foundations, and not having the actual guidance around nutrition as well. So that's exactly what we've been working on. Her goal was to lose weight, body fat specifically, and just in the process rebuild her identity, her energy, and her mindset. And not only that, she wanted to give kids a healthy example. She wanted to break the cycle and be a better role model for her son. We work with a lot of parents, and this is a huge motivator for them, really being that leader, not just with their kids, but everyone around them, even just family members, wanting to inspire people around them. And it all starts with this and your actions. She didn't want any more crash diets like the challenges, or just starting again on Monday after a bad weekend. She wanted consistency and a lifestyle. So what was our plan to get there? And a big part of that was obviously shifting nutrition. We wanted to add a bit more structure into this, to give her that clarity and reduce overwhelm, but also introduce a bit of flexibility in there and have the education on how to do that. So it's not just going super restrictive like a challenge, but obviously we're not going to the extreme of having complete flexibility and just eating whatever we want. We needed that sweet spot in the middle. So not a generic plan, really just working on building in meals that she enjoyed and fitted nicely into her life as well with her schedule, that she could easily prepare and just have that combination of foods that are going to fuel her well, but also going to fit well into her routine. So she needed to understand food, what to eat, how much to eat, when to eat it, and how to actually make it work with her life. So that's been a huge part of the process. And these pictures here, if you're wondering what these photos are, they are basically food photos that Alina's been sending into her one-to-one coaching group chat. And this is basically the food audit process of learning how we can actually build these foods in to still hit your targets, which has been super valuable for her, so she doesn't feel restricted. And then another big part of this, as I said, is going to be rewiring emotional eating habits along the way throughout the entire coaching process. So part 2 of the plan, we wanted to rebuild the routine. The routine is everything, guys. At the end of the day, it is like literally what you do on a day-to-day basis, and this needs to be realistic. It needs to be aligned with your goals, of course, but it needs to be realistic as well. It's always just about finding that balance, that sweet spot. So setting a training routine that she could realistically follow. She has been doing more group classes as well, which is absolutely fine too. So like everyone that we coach, we basically will try and get that, again, the balance of what they want to do, but what's going to get them to their goals. So she's been doing some sessions from us, but then she's been doing some sessions with a group class, having that balance. If you do enjoy group classes, then it's absolutely fine to still like sprinkle those in and have that balance there. But then we've also introduced some resistance work for her to do on top of that to supplement it to reach her goals faster. So essentially, the training routine, she needs to be able to stick to it. It needs to be realistic, but she needs to enjoy it as well. We need to give her back the time by reducing that overwhelm, have that structure, and have that confidence that actually what she's doing is going to get her to her goal. Because so many people, they'll be in the gym and they won't really be too sure if what they're doing is going to get them to their goal. Like some group classes are good, for example. Some are like too much cardio, so that's when we need to introduce extra resistance work. But some group classes, they're fine and they do have resistance work in them. So maybe a client of ours can mainly do their group classes if that's what they want to do. So it's about finding out what's going to work best for you and your goals, and then also the energy expenditure side of things, we needed to increase her step count to improve the activity levels. And this is basically going to mean that she doesn't need to drop her calories and eat like a restrictive amount of food, because we're actually burning more calories throughout the day, but whilst making it more manageable and slotting it into her routine where it's actually achievable for her to do that. And then after that, obviously, we've got all these plans together. We needed to really ramp up the accountability side of things, and I'm going to run you through exactly how we did that later on. Before we talk about the accountability though, I want to go through our optimal balance framework, and this is exactly what we work on with every single person we coach, and Lina has been coached through this process as well. So we really take a holistic view to the journey. Of course, the training and nutrition are important. We've got the training sessions down here, which are of course absolutely key as well, but we've got the constant support on all these other areas, which are basically the foundation to your journey. And this is why things like restrictive diets and stuff like that don't work, because people aren't actually working on the foundations with their habits and their mindset. So if these other things aren't in check and you're just trying to follow some really structured plan, then after your dieting process ends, you're just going to go back to square one. So we really need to rebuild that identity and lay these solid foundations, and that's been a huge part of Lina's journey as well, because once you start focusing on all these things, your energy improves massively and your day-to-day life gets so much easier. So her results, as I said, 12 kilos in 12 weeks, which is awesome. She's more in control of emotional eating now as well. And this has been a massive part of her journey, being aware of the habit loops that are going on and breaking those and forming new habits and having the nutritional knowledge as well. So these have been one of the biggest parts of her achieving this awesome result, and just having such a better mindset and more energy throughout the day. Not only is she doing so well from a weight loss perspective, but her mindset's so much better, her energy is so much better as well, so it's going to be easier for her to continue this process. And this right here, you can see this is a little bit different from the graph that I showed you before. It's got a lot more data entry points, because the graph I showed you before was Lina's weekly check-in. That's like the big weekly analysis, where we go through every single thing that she's been doing in that week and give her that feedback to keep her moving forwards. But this is her daily check-in graph, where at this point in her journey we've been more dialed in with the daily weigh-ins, and you can see here that there's little fluctuations along the way, but by having that daily weigh-in, we've got that more frequent data, so we can actually spot averages across the week. So this is where people will sometimes be a little bit disheartened if they see a jump up in their weight, but actually it's just because their body weight has been fluctuating that week. So if you can imagine, for example, that Lina had only weighed herself on this one where it spiked up, and then she'd maybe be disheartened, but actually for the whole week leading up to that, her body weight was down. So that's why it's really valuable if you are wanting to minimize like weight fluctuations from your progress, and you want an accurate reading of where you're actually at. That's why weighing yourself on a daily basis is so valuable. So why did this work as well? Structure and flexibility, not just another diet, as I said before, really important part of it. We needed to optimize the time, take the thinking out of it, because a lot of people spend a lot of mental energy on wondering what they should be doing, but just having that time taken out of it, of all the thinking, is very powerful. Just knowing exactly what you want to do and then just doing it. Having the personalized strategy, very important, building it around a lifestyle. And then that weekly analysis that I mentioned in the check-ins, that is one of the biggest parts of the coaching as well, because that's how we're constantly making tweaks and having that accountability with your one-to-one coach. As you can see here, Lina in her one-to-one coaching group chat with myself and her one-to-one coach, Jenan. This is really important part of the journey. Jenan basically drops in Lina's one-to-one analysis every single week into her coaching group chat, basically going through everything she's done in that week and what she could have improved on, what she's done well, and how to keep her moving forwards, and also making tweaks like to her calories or her steps or whatever it might be, and obviously giving her that accountability along the way. And then the education around the food, instead of just setting rules, that's really a lot more motivating, knowing how to build in food you actually enjoy, giving her that self-belief and making her actions align with her vision as well. Because so many people, they feel unconfident because they say they want to lose weight or achieve something in their fitness journey, but they don't actually take actions towards it. So that self-belief and that self-confidence, Lina got that straight away when she joined the team, because she knew that the action she was taking is aligning with her goals. As I said, accountability was key. This is where Jenen's been dropping in Lina's one-to-one feedback analysis every single week from her check-ins and making changes. You can see here, for example, this one changing her calorie target. We've got the daily accountability check-ins here that she's been completing in the app as well. And you can see here the form that she's been filling out, just an example there of the check-ins each week. The accountability is absolutely key, and reminding yourself of your wins and sort of rating yourself in different areas on the journey really helps keeping you moving forwards. The turning point for her was just realizing that she didn't need a quick fix. She needed to understand how to actually fuel her body properly, build this routine around her, and feel confident in what she's doing and actually being able to see it as something that she can maintain long term. And yeah, just realizing at the start that she hadn't tried anything. As soon as she joined, she was like, wow, like this is a lot more personalized, and it's so motivating where you can actually see yourself doing something moving forwards, and actually having that education around this and realizing that it's not all just quick fixes and generic plans. So that's been a huge part of it, having that education for her, and then also just seeing that progress, of course, is so motivating. And not only that, but when you see the progress and realize that you can keep going with this, it's not just something that's really restrictive and difficult. That's been absolutely huge. And touching on the education there, this is a screenshot from Lina's app that all of our clients get, the content library. On top of obviously the one-to-one coaching, we've also got a load of training modules, PDF guides, restaurant guides, absolutely everything in here. And we also have a community online with the group chat in WhatsApp, and I drop in trainings in there all the time. And this is a huge part of the process, is that educational development. That's how you're going to keep your results long term. So if you're watching this video and you are feeling stuck right now, hopefully this has been a reminder for you that you need to just start really focusing on yourself as an individual rather than just following these generic plans, and just make sure you are educating yourself around the process and really rebuilding the foundations, the habits and the mindset as well. And if you want guidance through that process and you want some help like Lina's had and some accountability, then just DM me on Instagram at JHF. If you DM me the word Lina, and I'll get back to you and give you some more information about our coaching program. Or you can apply via the link below in the description. You'll be speaking with me directly. I'll reach out to you, and then we can get you started with some more information on the coaching and see if it's something you want to do. But other than that, guys, it's been a real pleasure. Hopefully this has been useful today, and make sure you subscribed. I'll see you in the next video.